Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Rockin' Reaction Rollers, where we react to music that we grew up with from the 60s to the 90s, and my name is Tammy. Um, I just tried to play the number one song of 1964, and I just noticed it got blocked, and so that's one reason why I separated the video out, because I was afraid that it was going to do that. So all I did in the first video was played the song and talked about it and said it was the number one hit in 1964. But it's a Beatles song, and it was called I Want to Hold Your Hand, and I seen that it got blocked. I've not ever been able to put a Beatles song out here yet, so I figured that was going to happen. So I was going to do like two parts to this video. So now that it got blocked, we won't be able to play the song, but I'm just going to put some facts out there about the year 1964, and then we'll go back to the U's and V's and play a couple songs after this for this video. So if you don't want to hear the facts about 1964, you can just hold off, because there'll be music in the next video. But because we can't play I Want to Hold Your Hand, I'm upset. So we're just going to talk about it a little bit. So first I'm going to talk about the song, even though we can't play it. But it says the Beatles had 6 number one singles in 1964. I Want to Hold Your Hand, which was one of those number ones, became the number one single of the year. And so the top 10 songs back then, I'm going to just mention them real quickly here. Number 2 was also a Beatles song. It was called She Loves You. So they had number 1 and number 2 spots for the year. Number 3 was Hello Dolly by Louis Armstrong. Number 4, Oh Pretty Woman by Roy Orbison. We just did the Van Halen version the other night. Number 5 was I Get Around by the Beach Boys. Number 6 was Everybody Loves Somebody by Dean Martin. Number 7 was My Guy by Mary Wells. Number 8 was We'll Sing in the Sunshine by Gail Garnett. Number 9 was Last Kiss by J. Frank Wilson and the Cavaliers. And the 10th top song of 1964 was Where Did Our Love Go by the Supremes. Oh, anyway, let's get back to the song a little bit. There's a couple things I want to say about it since we didn't get to play it. But it says this was the Beatles' first song to catch on in America. The first 10 days of the release in the U.S. sold better than any other British single and remains the best-selling single in the U.S., moving over 12 million copies. John and Paul wrote this song in Jane Asher's basement. Asher was an actress who became Paul's first high-profile girlfriend. She and Paul broke up in 1968, but her brother Jane's brother Peter and McCartney remained friends. And Peter teamed up with Gordon Ware to form the group Peter and Gordon. So we have 1 or 2 of their songs on the channel too also. McCartney wrote a song for them which became a hit single called A World Without Love. So that's the song that Peter and Gordon sang. Big Paul McCartney wrote it for him. And then it just had this other little bits of information I thought was cute. It says Bob Dylan thought that this song, where it says I can't hide, he thought it says I get high. And that it was in reference to marijuana. He was surprised to learn that the Beatles had never even tried pot before. And so it became part of Beatles lore when he introduced them to it. The Beatles were met, so when the Beatles first landed in the U.S. also, they were met by a bunch of screaming girls when they landed in the U.S. from their airplane. You can just imagine it, you know. Some of them were fainting, I'm sure, and all that. Oh, gosh. They took it a little too far, I think, but this was the start of it, and start of an actual whole new revolution of music and everything else. But okay, so I'm just upset that I couldn't play the song, but you'll just have to go out after this and go out to YouTube and just listen to the song, just so that you can hear it tonight, since they won't let me play it. But anyway, I'm just going to throw a few more facts out there about 1964. Let's see, the top baby names back there was, the 5 girl names were Lisa, Mary, Susan, Karen, and Patricia. Karen, you made this list again. And the 5 top guy names were Michael, John, David, James, and Robert. So I hear a few subscriber names in that too. Okay, let's see what else it says here. The top 10 TV shows was number 1, Bonanza, number 2, Bewitched, number 3, Gomer Pyle, number 4, The Andy Griffith Show, and number 5, The Fugitive. Okay, that year the St. Louis Cardinals won the World Series. Go Cards. The NFL champions were the Cleveland Browns. The AFL champions were the Buffalo Bills. The NBA champions were the Boston Celtics. The Stanley Cup went to the Toronto Maple Leafs. And the NCAA basketball champions were UCLA. And the Kentucky Derby was Northern Dancer, was the name of the horse. Okay, we got a little bit more here on the back. It says, the most powerful earthquake in the U.S. history at a magnitude of 9.2 struck south central Alaska back in 1964. Dr. Martin Luther King receives the Nobel Peace Prize. Elizabeth Taylor marries Richard Burton for the first time. Okay, and the Civil Rights Act of 1964 is signed into law by Lyndon B. Johnson. And then a few things were kind of different here. The Rock'em Sock'em robots were introduced. Their names were Red Rock and Blue Bomber. And I remember those. My cousin Danny had some, and we'd go over to their house, and him and I would box each other with these little plastic things, and he'd beat me all the time. And yeah, I remember that. Red Rock and Blue Bomber. I'll have to remind him of it next time I see him, or if he watches the video. Anyway, Mr. Potato Head didn't get a body until 1964. I was trying to think, did I ever see him with a body? I'm sure I did, but I just remember it being the potato head itself. I mean, it's called Mr. Potato Head, so I just don't remember there being a body on it. I'm going to have to look that up. Okay, the FBI spent 4 months investigating the song Louie Louie by the Kingsmen. I remember reading about this when we did the song. After receiving complaints about obscure lyrics, and the investigation ended up without persecution because it ended up being nothing. Good Lord, they couldn't say anything wrong back then without getting banned or something from the whole country. The U.S. had no vice president for the whole year of 1964. Lyndon B. Johnson never named a replacement. You know, he was vice president when John F. Kennedy died, so he became president, and then they never had a vice president that year after that. It says Herbert Humphrey became vice president in 1965. Okay, then we've got things what some things cost back then. A pack of cigarettes were $1.60. The new Ford Mustang, it came out too. It was introduced in 1964, but the cost of a new one was $2,320. A gallon of milk was 93 cents a gallon. Minimum wage was $1.15 an hour. The average income per household was $6,000. A gallon of gas was 25 cents a gallon. And they actually put it in for you too. A loaf of bread was 30 cents a gallon. And the average house cost $13,050. Let's see what else we got over here. I think all we have left is just famous. Oh, another thing that was made and introduced in 1964 was the Sharpie marker. Okay. And famous birthdays, we have a few here. We have Nicolas Cage, which is an actor. Michelle Obama, which used to be First Lady. Sarah Palin, which used to be or is the governor of Alaska. Matt Dillon, who is an actor. Rob Lowe, an actor. Russell Crowe, an actor. Lenny Kravitz, a musician. Courtney Cox, an actress. Courtney Love, Kurt Cobain's lover, I guess. Barry Bonds, baseball. and Stone Cold Steve Austin. So those were the birthdays. And that's about all I got for the year 1964. And at the time, I would have been in my terrible twos, and I hadn't gotten my go-go boots yet. I think I got them the next year. And then once little Miss Nancy Sinatra came out, I thought I was her. So I was starting to boogie right about this time. It was starting, that rock and roll was starting to get in me, even though I was little. And I'm sure with you all too, it just went in your ear and stuck to your heart there, I think. But if you like the channel, be sure to subscribe, because we're going to go for now. I'm going to try to put a couple of U's and V's songs out yet tonight. And I'm just upset I couldn't put this song out, but, you know, I didn't figure I was going to get to. And just be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like the channel or like the video, just be sure to hit like underneath it. Hit the post notification bell so you won't miss a video. And we're going to go for now, so we'll be back in a little bit. Be sure to tell those people you love that you love them each and every day. And peace out.